Hey everybody, Haku finally here with HaQ&A number 61, and yeah, we're a week late with this one. We're in the hat because I just got out the shower recently and I don't want my hair freaking out and falling my face in the whole time because we have a lot to go through. Possibly the most that I've ever done since the most comments I've ever put together since doing the HaQ&As this way, where I split it into sections. I've got 11 pages worth here in front of me, so I'm not sure how long this is going to take. I'm going to try to take my time and discuss everything as thoroughly as possible, but it's also getting kind of dark because it's a storm is supposed to be coming, so it's like I have a lot to do for this video and not sure how much time I have to do it in, but I'm going to try to take my time with it, not rush it or anything. Also, if I'm speaking, trying to keep an even voice here, not get too loud or anything, it's because when I recorded my, I guess it was hour and 10 minute long read-through video for Magical Girl Raising Project this week, at the beginning, I guess that one scene, I was so hyped up and everything, or talking loudly or quickly or whatever, but by the end of that, I was like struggling through, like barely could get words out and stuff, so I'm going to try to take it easier on my voice here so that by the end of this, I'm not completely hoarse and raspy. So yeah, going to try to speak at an even tone here. Then, yeah, I guess that's it. Let's talk about some of the general stuff I've written. What do I even have written? Oh yeah, last week some videos were late. A lot of videos were late because my internet was out for a few days. Kind of in and out for a few days. So that put me really behind on stuff. But I guess whenever I post this, it'll mean that I'm finally caught up now. But yeah, also for anime, most anime, it was a pretty amazing week. Going back and now finally catching up to Recreators, it was good. But more than that, Little Witch Academia and Virgin Soul both had like episode of the season candidates this week. Like, if you're not watching those, I would highly recommend them because they both just had great episodes. Also, the news is that Milk is great because the Discord is up now. And yeah, I've been talking there quite a lot actually. I've pretty much just had it up in the background whenever I've been on my computer, which is a lot of the time since I both work online and do YouTube and everything. I'm like pretty much constantly in arm's reach of a computer. So I've been talking on Discord quite a lot, and I'll be putting a link in the comment that I usually put the timestamps in. I'll be putting a link there. It'll be a link that expires after a day, so if you want another one, just comment and tell me and I'll give you a new link. The only reason I'm using one that isn't permanent and only lasts a day is because, I don't know, if you guys, should I do a permanent one? I'm really new to Discord, so I don't know how it is, but my fear with putting out a permanent one is like, once you put out a permanent one, like, if somebody wanted to just come in and spam stuff or advertise or whatever, and I kicked them, they could just come back with a new account again and again because it's a permanent link. So, yeah, but if you want one, comment down there and I'll comment it back to you, or I'm putting it down there in the comments. It's just, I'm kind of weary about doing a permanent link. I'm just not totally sure about it. Also, things I started watching in the, well, I guess 2-week time span that I haven't done a HaQ&A. I've started watching Sin Nanatsu no Taizai, which is what it is. It's actually quite confusingly good in a way. It's sort of like it has really good production quality, weirdly good production quality, but it's very close to being hentai. It's one of those ecchi shows that's like so heavily ecchi that it's about as close as you can go to being hentai without quite being there. It's very odd, and it makes it even odder that it has such great production quality, and I think I've really enjoyed watching it because I find myself almost every episode laughing harder than I laugh at a lot of comedies, just because the absurdity of it all, the absurdity of the fan service and everything. I think it's hilarious. Also, Hinako Note, which is genuinely funny. It's a genuinely funny show. I think it's pretty good. Comedies aren't my favorite, but I do like a good comedy, and it's been good so far. Also, been talking a lot about Madoka, and Madoka was brought up in the comments some. So I will say, Madoka, one of the best anime ever in my opinion. at least one of the most well written, and I guess one of the most well handled when it comes to production quality as well. I would say the movies are some of the most creative and artsy animations I've seen, but they're really, really good in that way. Like, the art pays off because it's just really, really good. Also, Mommy Best Girl. I know I saw people talking about Best Girls and Mommy and stuff. Mommy Best Girl for me. So yeah, let's get into some general comments really quick before I do the bonus thing and start going into different sections for different series. The first comment I wanted to talk about here in the general section, LaTroy's View said, Haku, I finally started doing Walking Dead reviews. Check them out and give me some tips. I haven't checked them out yet, but I wanted to bring it up because if any of you are interested in Walking Dead reviews, which I have been, I've been really good about getting my comic reviews and live reactions up on time, but my show reviews, I haven't even reviewed any of Fear yet this season. I've just been behind on stuff. So if you just want to check out another person, and again, I won't say, oh, the reviews are so good. I haven't watched them yet, but they're a person that they've been commenting on the channel for a long time, and I respect their comments and discussion and all. So I definitely say go check them out. And this kind of makes me think, it's like, this is the kind of thing, like, if somebody's been commenting for a while and says something like this, I don't mind saying go and watch their videos, especially, I mean, if you want to look for somebody else doing Walking Dead, since I'm a bit late on it sometimes, I think it's a good thing to check other people out. But it's like such a big difference between that and they didn't tell me to tell you guys to go watch them and stuff, and all the comments that I always get that say, hey, could you give me a shout out or sub for sub or something. This isn't like that at all. This is, I'm not going to say this is how it should be handled, because they didn't even, it's not like they wanted me to shout them out. Either way, I'm getting a little bit confused, so I'm going to move along, but they're good peoples, so yeah, if you want to check them out, do. Deshaun Gamble says, hey Haku, did I see a clantail-like character in one of the anime pictures from when, or like a centaur, from when I did my video asking for you guys to, it was the monthly update I added in asking you guys to help me decide what we should watch or possibly review next season, and yes, that was Centaur no Nayami, or A Centaur's Worries, and I think that it's probably the one anime that I'm sure that I'll review week to week. What else? Yeah, it's the only one I'm sure that I'll review week to week. For everything else, always just throw down any suggestions you have and I'll watch them and stuff. But I think this season what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until the first 2-3 episodes come out. Going to watch the first 2-3 episodes. And then if I want to cover anything other than Centaur no Nayami, and of course I'm going to continue covering Boku no Hero Academia because that's continuing on. But if I want to keep reviewing something else, then I think it's best if I just wait 2 or 3 episodes in and see what I really like and what I think is good to review. What people are interested in, you know. I think that'll be a better way to do it, so that one, I don't overwhelm myself with a series if people don't want me to do week-to-week videos, and 2, I pick the ones I really, really like best. Next up, Yuri Zahard, again in the same vein of things, talking about things that we could add to the channel, said, I'd like to see a weekly Cubera review. It would be quite a lot to catch up, totally worth it, just like with Tower of God. From the anime season, I'd suggest looking into Netsuzo Trap, Jikan no Shihaisha, Sayuki Reload Blast, Isekai Shokudo, and also the new Fate. It's not necessary to watch the older Fate shows because it's an alternate universe setting. I will check out Cubera. It sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard of it before, but the only thing with reviewing it week to week, I feel like the schedule's so busy right now that adding another series week to week, it'd be really difficult unless I'm really, really liking it. So I can always check it out, and if I do really, really like it, like I like Tower of God or Boku no Hero Academia or One Piece, I'd have no problem throwing it in week to week. But it's just something where I just have to find time for it. And also, if I don't add it week to week, if I read it and like it, I can still do a video on it, discussing it here and there, or I could discuss it in the HaQ&As and stuff. I could just do discussions every once in a while, but a weekly schedule is just kind of a lot. And all the anime that you brought up are all ones that I plan to try. But like I said before, I'll probably wait till like a week or two, maybe even 3, before deciding which ones to review week to week, except for Sentou no Naomi, because I've already seen so many mangaka and stuff that I follow and stuff reacting to going to see the preview showing of it and stuff. So I'm just really excited about that one. So I definitely know I want to review it week to week, just because I personally am that excited. Also, I'd like to watch the Fate anime, but I'd prefer to watch them in the order in which they're made, but it's just confusing either way. I knew that they were alternate universe type things, but I don't know how that makes me feel about it, just because it does make it more confusing. So yeah. Seek 210 next up. Sorry if I got a little bit rambly. I feel like I really did, and I'm already 11 minutes in, but I feel like I'm getting a bit rambly. Seek 210 said, I saw a few series that got me really interested, like Kataguri, Jikan no Shihaisha, Isekai Shokudo, Ballroom e Yokoso, and the Fate series. I'm watching the soccer series for sure, since I like sports, and from the preview, the comedy looks good. I think from this season, I'm going to watch around 15, 16 series. That's me. This season, I'm watching 16. I don't know about next season. I'll probably end up watching a bit too, because really 16 seems like a lot, but I mean, it really isn't. I mean, depending on how much other stuff you watch or what else you do for hobbies, it's really not that much, because I haven't really been watching much of anything in my free time even. I've just been watching an episode of anime whenever I eat breakfast or lunch or whatever. Whenever I'm just at home eating, I'll just watch one while I eat, and I've been keeping up with 11 shows and catching up to shows at that pace, so I mean, it works. But yeah, all the ones you mentioned are ones that, again, they interest me, so I'd like to check them out and possibly review them. Except Ballroom e Yokoso. I'm sorry, but it just doesn't really look like something that I'm that interested in. And for me, for both that and the soccer one, I find that I'm not really a fan of sports anime. I can't think of any sports anime that I liked. If you guys want to request some for me to get to eventually, I'd be cool to check them out. I'd be cool to try them, because there were a lot of things that I didn't think I'd like and I ended up really liking. I didn't think I'd like K-On!, ended up loving it. I didn't think I would like Yuri Kuma Arash, and I ended up thinking it was one of my top 10 favorite anime ever, I think. Or maybe it was number 11 when I did that list. But either way, I loved it, even though I thought it was going to be bad. So I'm not a fan of sports anime in general, but I could always be proven wrong by that. I could learn to love it. And now really quick, before splitting off into sections, our bonus thing for this week, our bonus discussion, I'm going to talk about my top 22 favorite anime openings and endings this season. The reason I'm doing 22 is because I'm planning to watch 16 shows this season, but I'm only currently into 11. I'm caught up with all those 11 except for 2 that I'm working on catching up to. But I've watched enough of them to know the opening and ending pretty well. So I'm going to go least to most favorite with these, just the opening and ending from the 11 shows I am caught up on, and I'll watch the other 5 shows eventually. Maybe in a week or 2, if I'm caught up with all of them, I could order the 16 I watched from favorite to least favorite or something. But either way, number 22, top 22 openings and endings, I'd say the Sin Nanatsu no Taizai ending. The reason I'm going for that is just because, like, the animation is basic ending animation where it's just kind of almost a slideshow kind of thing, like a lot of ending themes are. But the song, I don't like the song. It gets stuck in my head sometimes, but I still don't really like it. Now, I don't think it's that bad. I think the thing I don't like about it, that voice at the very beginning and that little intro beat they do at the very beginning where they're like, "Welcome down to Diabolic Paradise," I really don't like that. I think that might be what I don't like about the song. Because really the actual, I think it's the cast members singing, it sounds like, really their singing isn't that bad, so I think that's maybe what I don't like. And it sounds like a bit of an old song. Sounds like something you would hear in old anime, but not in the good way. Number 21, I give to the Clockwork Planet opening. Now, the Clockwork Planet opening. It's one of those that's a little bit lazy. There's a lot of openings like that this season. And what I mean by a little bit lazy is it feels like a lot of it is just used scenes from the actual show. And I feel like the song is good, the animation's alright, but the animation and song don't really mesh well, they don't really fit well together. So I'd say that's why I put it second to last. And again, I think I like all of these 22 to an extent. These are just my least favorite of them. The Sin Nanatsu no Taizai opening is next. Again, it's not really a bad song. My problem with it is it's kind of the same way Clockwork Planet is lazy. A huge chunk of it, a good few seconds, is just like colors flying across the screen. But a big problem is that a lot of the images from the opening are just scenes taken from the show, which is pretty lazy. Number 19, I would say the Clockwork Planet ending. I think that the type of animation they use for the ending is really interesting looking, and I really like the song as well, especially the chorus. So nothing really to complain about. It's just okay. 18th, I'd say the Akashic Records. Another thing I have noticed when making this list, I put a lot of shows. I would not expect to put endings above openings that much, but I put a ton of shows endings above their openings, like I just did with Clockwork Planet. But yeah, number 18 is the Akashic Records opening. I think the reason it's here is it is very much a generic anime opening. It is very much, if you said, give me an anime opening, just stereotype it. That's what it would be. It is the stereotype anime opening. The song sounds like 90% of anime openings. The animation looks like 90%. It's very, very generic. 17th place, I'd put the Akashic Records ending, because it's kind of the same, except for ending themes. It's kind of your generic ending theme. The images they use for the slideshow style image stuff aren't bad though. And one thing I will say, and why I put it this high up, despite it being kind of generic, is that the song is actually pretty nice. I like the song for the Akashic Records ending, so that's why I'd put it there. 16. This may seem a little bit low for some fans of the show. Boku no Hero Academia 2's ending is in 16th place. Just because, again, it's a good song, which is why I put it above Akashic Records, but it's kind of the same deal. It's kind of just your slideshow, your basic anime ending song. It is your stereotypical anime ending. 15th, Recreator's ending, because once again, it's the standard anime ending. Very much what you would get if you looked in a dictionary for anime ending. So all three of those suffer from the same thing. I put Recreators in 15th though because the song was good, but also the artwork was really, really good for the Recreators ending as well, and the transitions. 14th, I'll do the Frame Arms Girl ending. It's really fun, really catchy. I like the chibi artwork and everything. I like the cast singing it and different members of the cast singing different parts each episode. Think there's a lot to like about it. 13th place is the Frame Arms Girl opening, and I am counting the second version of the opening where they swapped out the CG animation for the really nice looking 2D animation in my opinion. And I think it looks really good. I think the song, I didn't like the song at first, but then it really grew on me to become catchy, and I like it in general. Like, we're getting into stuff that I think everyone is really good at this point. So yeah, I can just say why it's really good to me. 13th, or I just did 13th. 12th would be the Zero Kara Hajime Mao no Shu, Zero Kara long name, the Grimoire of Zero opening. Now, well, again, that's the opening. It's lower on the list than the ending. So yeah, I think with this, the animation's nice at some parts, and then some parts it isn't as nice, but the song is really, really good to me. I really think the singing is really good. Like, the song writing and setup maybe isn't the best, but whoever sings that song, like, they can sing really well. I love the Zero Kara Hajime Mao no Shu's opening vocals. Then 11th place for me, Attack on Titan 2 opening. If you guys like this, you might You might be disappointed that I put it way, way down in 11. But I think the reason I put it down there is because, of course, it's the same band and they're going for the same sort of feel, so it does have a bit of the same sound as the first two openings. But I think it sounds too much like the first two openings. It is really catchy, and I really love the chorus. And I really don't, other than it sounding a bit too much like the first two, I don't have any problems with the song itself because it's catchy and good. But my problem comes more with the animations. The animations are amazing during that chorus section, but then at the very end, it really takes me out of the opening when we have the Beast Titan running with all the animals and the friggin' flying whale and the T-Rex and stuff, and that kind of takes me out of it. And I know it's artistic and it's meant to symbolize stuff, and I don't like it very much, that sequence at the end. I don't think it was a good sequence to add in, especially given the CG nature of the animation. So yeah, that is the negative that knocks it all the way down to 11th, I think. And 10th, I'm actually putting the Attack on Titan 2 ending. I'm putting the ending above the opening because I actually like the way the animation looks. And I love the song. The song is both pretty catchy and really creepy and eerie. The entire thing has this really creepy, artistic, eerie vibe that I really like. I really like the feelings put into that ending. So I'd say top 10 because of that. 9th place, Zurikar Hajime no Show ending. The ending is a feels trip. And I love the way that it's like the pages flipping through the book as well. It's a really, really well done ending. 8th place, I'd say the Hinako Note opening. It's your typical loud, boisterous comedy opening. It's really catchy, it's really fun, makes me smile. It's a really happy, upbeat song. And I think the catchiest part is when they're running through the Japanese tongue twisters, like, what is the Akimakigami, Aomakigami, Kimakigami, and they're running through the Japanese tongue twisters. Is just so catchy when they're going through that. So yeah, I love that opening. That 7th place is the Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul ending. I didn't think I would like it at first, but it's another one that really, really, really grew on me, and I came to really, really like a lot. Mostly because of the song. The visuals are really good and really unique as well, but the song is just awesome. It's so catchy. It's probably one of my favorite songs from the season. Then 6th place, I would say the Hinako Note ending. Once again, putting an ending above the opening of its show. I'd say the ending because it's catchy like the opening. I think the song in general is better. The animation, again, I love the way it transitions through different levels of chibi, just like the show's animation does. But I think the song is better than the opening song. Again, same things I thought about the opening, with it just being a fun comedy kind of deal. 5th place, getting into the top 5. 5th place, Boku no Hero Academia 2's opening. Just a really, really good action shonen opening. I love the sequence with where everybody's stretching, but specifically the one with Todoroki where he holds his arms out and you see the shadow like moving across his body. Like, I think that is just such a good sequence. I love it. The only thing I don't really like, again, with the very, very end sequences of each, I don't like the very end sequence of it much either, like I said with the Attack on Titan 2 opening, where I think it's mostly the song. The song just has this weird cadence at the end that I don't really like that much. But yeah, still enough to be top 5 just because it's really good. 4th place, Little Witch Academia's ending, or ending 2, I guess, technically. So yeah, Little Witch Academia's ending's in 4th. An ending within the top 5. It is so good. It is so artistic. I think that's the big thing I'm going to keep yelling here. Artistic. Because the animation is just so beautiful. The song is so good. Very feelsy. I would say Little Witch Academia's ending is just a masterpiece. 3rd place, Virgin Soul's opening. Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul. I love it. It's so catchy. The animation is really cool, what they did with it. It's just like, I love the first season, Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis. I love their opening. And kind of got the same sort of feel to it, but I think it's even better. I love it. 2nd place, I'm going to give the Little Witch Academia opening 2. Because, yeah, same things it's sort of a mix between what I said about the ending, with it being artistic and the animation being really nice and it bringing good feels, and what I said about Boku no Hero Academia's opening, where it works as a really, really good, just sort of action-adventure kind of opening as well. And one thing I think I love the most is that drum line during the chorus is so good. And then the part with the sequence with Akko transforming into the different animals is so good. Animation is great. I love the parallels it draws between Akko and Diana and Chariot and Croy. So yeah, it's so good and detailed. But I actually put one more thing above it. First place, I gotta put the Recreators opening, because the artwork and animation is just so detailed. And adding to that, the song is the catchiest this season. I think it's the best song this season. The songs from Hinako no Virgin Soul and Little Witch Academia are all great, and pretty much most of them. I'd say, like I said, I like all of these. But Recreator song is possibly the best to me. And the combination between the animation and the song and the way it fits, it just fits so well. It's got to be number one. So, yeah, that was very long. I am just now finishing the general section, and we are like 30 minutes in. So this is going to be quite the long ride. And next up, we'll move into Tower of God. Okay, guys, let's move into some Tower of God comments. First up, Kaz the Rapper said, regarding Tower of God, Yurik's anklet, it doesn't hide people's powers as opposing to holding back their power. Or doesn't it hide people's power as opposing to holding back their power? It appears to me that it hides their power and they have to try 95% or less or they'll break it. Or try 95% less or they'll break it. Not that it stops them from using 95% of their power. And I'm so glad somebody called me out on this, because I was saying for I don't know if it was a week or 2 weeks, where I had this theory that it was like something that was used to hold prisoners or slaves or something. I didn't even realize, it's not holding Yurik back to 5% of his power. It's going to break if he uses more than 5%. So in that case, it would be terrible for keeping prisoners, because the prisoner would just break it whenever they use more than 5% power. I was so dumb. My theory was so shit and I didn't even realize it. So thank you for pointing this out. And they carried on. They're like, no, I still think it has something to do with prisons or something, the design of it, or just the fact that it's a bracelet makes it seem like that, and Yuri's reaction can't have been for nothing. And I agree, Yuri definitely had a strong reaction to seeing Yurik with that anklet, so it's got to be something important having to do with the Zahard family or something, because Yuri recognized it, and I don't think it's the last we're going to hear about that either. We're probably going to learn about it the next time we see Yurik and Yuri interacting for a good amount of time. Next up, Paul 1991ish said, this is turning into the best arc thus far. I am enjoying this arc. For me though, I will also say that I don't know yet how I would compare it to Name Hunt Station, Revolution Road, or Dollar Show, because there are some amazing things in Floor of Death, and some things I'm not quite sure about yet, so I'd like to see how it ends. I'd like to wait until the ending before I'd see how I'd compare it to those other ones, because Name Hunt Station, Revolution Road, and Dollar Show were all great to me. This maybe is already better than most, or even possibly all of them, but I'd like to see how it ends before I make my final decision. But yes, it is turning into one of the best arcs. No Consensus said, when looking at Yurik strangling the red Thryssa and explaining why I gave it to Joe, the red Thryssa looks similar to the red exoskeleton we see Bomb with at the beginning of the second season. They both even had the same looking horns on their heads. I thought the same thing. I think a lot of us were thinking the same thing. So maybe the red exoskeleton is part of the Guardian's power that the red Thryssa saw within Bomb when they said they saw part of the Guardian's power. Maybe that red exoskeleton has to do with the blue demon, or it's either that or what he saw, or either the blue demon is something different and what he saw is the thorn or something, or maybe it's a part of the Guardian entirely. But I just think having a Thryssa would make it make sense, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one. It's very odd. But one thing I'm going to say, I doubt it's the thorn, because I doubt the blue spirit is the thorn. I doubt that the Guardian's power is the thorn, because the thorn, I'm pretty sure they established that that is something that Enryu brought with him to the Floor of Death. So whatever that is and whatever the Guardian's power is, it's two separate things that Bomb has. But yeah, with it being a Thryssa or something to do with that red exoskeleton thing or the blue demon, that's the best we can make sense of it for now. Then Yubraj Pokarel, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, said, my theory is that the Guardian's power that Bomb holds is the blue Thryssa, and it's another part of the 43rd Guardian. The blue Thryssa, blue demon that Bomb met during the revolution in the rice pot. Both demons wanted to get control of their host, however Heljo accepted the red Thryssa, but Bomb has rejected the blue one. And I think if FUG gets their hands on the blue one, just like Yurik, gets their hands on the blue ones, just like Yurik, and, okay, I think FUG got their hands on the blue ones, just like Yurik, and gave it to Bomb. This also explains everything. A demon that can ignite the thorn, and Beta's statements that the ignition weapon that Bomb has is the demon that fought against God, if the demon is the Guardian and God is Enryu. And that's actually a very, very good theory. I said, and this was actually the chapter before last, I was like, that's almost so good that if I didn't trust you, I'd think it was spoilers. But yeah, that's a very good theory, and I like that it is, and we've kind of discussed this in reviews and stuff already. I like the theory that it is the blue Thryssa, and you gave some very good evidence of it. And it makes sense that FUG got the blue one, just like Yurik got the red one. Yurik gave his to Joe accepted it, and it fused with him. FUG put theirs in Bomb, but Bomb keeps rejecting the blue spirit whenever it kind of talks about his insecurities. Kaz the Rapper also said, maybe there's a red Thryssa in South City and a blue one for North City, and there were two fragments of the Guardians and found in the different parts of the Guardian's corpse. That could again make sense, and make sense as to why there are two separate cities and there's the distinction between North and South. And we've seen that there was all the blood and all the red stuff in the South, and it was kind of blue and snowy in the North, so that could make sense. Kaz the Rapper also says, also the blue demon can't have... Okay, they said the blue demon can't have been added when he was a corpse. It appears he got the thorn plus the exoskeleton. FUG must have given the blue Thryssa to him when they trained him. It makes more sense since FUG has way more to do with ignition weapons and making thorns than removing Thryssas. It doesn't make sense for the god of Enryu to give Bomb anything but the sun power. And No Consensus replied to that. It could be possible that it was asleep since FUG were able to hold it in a tank, and then when Bomb received the thorn, it could have woken up. For me, I think the sun power in Bomb's inner world, I think that might be Bomb's own spirit, his own power, like his own will to help his friends, stop the tower's corruption, all that. I think that might be the sun. And then the blue demon, I'm thinking, could be the Thryssa, and maybe Bomb was dead. He was the dead baby in the prophecy. They put the blue demon, the Thryssa, in him, and it jump-started him back to life, revived him somehow. But I don't think the sun is what they gave him. I think the sun might be Bomb's own power. But then again, we really don't know when he got it, when he got the blue demon. And it would explain why the... if it was a blue Thryssa, it would explain why, like we talked about before, it keeps picking away at Bomb's insecurities, because we saw the red Thryssa did the same thing to Joe in order to try to take him over. Also, one argument that I have for this is that just because we didn't see the blue demon before Bomb got the thorn, it doesn't mean it wasn't there. Because we didn't see Bomb go to his inner world or anything like that at all before the thorn. So just because we didn't see it doesn't mean it wasn't there, I think is my argument. No Consensus. Wow, lastly, what the heck, that was a short section. No Consensus says, if the red Thryssa is only a small part of the administrator, I wonder if the blue demon's another part. Again, kind of the same topic. It's definitely a hot and important topic for Tower of God right now. It could be another part. It could be the red Thryssa ended up... Oh yeah, he's saying what we saw at the end of this chapter. It could be possible that the red Thryssa ended up becoming part of the blue demon. Maybe it was weakened, and in its weakened state it got absorbed or something. And I agree that that kind of makes sense. that after getting shot and all that explosion-y stuff by Yurik, the red Thryssa was just weakened, and while it was weakened, the blue Thryssa within bomb absorbed it to make it closer to becoming whole. So, yeah, I think that'd be a good guess there. Then, that's it for Tower of God, surprisingly already, and next up we'll move on to Boku no Hero Academia. Alright, time to get excited for some Boku no Hero Academia comments. First up, Seek210 said the fight was about last week's fight. The fight was amazing and the animation was top-notch as well, and I agree this has to be one of the best anime fights, to me at least, since Fate Zero. I loved how Deku told Todoroki to fight seriously, since he hasn't even scratched him, and how Bakugo was analyzing the whole fight. I agree, it was truly great. Also, I would recommend Railgun or Grimgar. Again, any of you watching, if you're interested in any good fights, when I was trying to think of anime with good fights, Railgun and Grimgar really came to mind. But now that I'm thinking about it here, Yu Yu Hakusho, it's an older one, so the animation's a bit dated, but Yu Yu Hakusho had great fights. It's such a good series. And as much as Naruto is kind of a generic answer, I cannot deny that the Shippuden kind of sucked, no offense, but the original Naruto had some great fights, some of the most memorable fights from my childhood. So, Bleach had some okay fights too, but Bleach is Bleach. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It is what it is. But yeah, I'd really recommend Grimgar or Railgun. I like their fights a lot. I like the realism that a lot of the Grimgar and Railgun fights have, the weight to them. Sorry if you hear thunder in the background. I'm going to power through and keep recording. Seek210 says, I have watched Grimgar, but I haven't watched Railgun. I'm still trying to finish Fist of the North Star for my non-seasonal series. Still behind on some popular series, so I'm trying to catch up slowly to those. Oh, and again, I would highly, highly recommend Railgun. It is my favorite anime. Next up, this is a bit of a long one, so stick with me here. But White Bear Beppo said, you probably already know this, but don't think that I'm being hostile with my comment. I'm just expressing my honest thoughts. How does Shoto and Momo getting together, do you mean in high school or the end of the series, ruin their character? Compare that to a random force ship such as Bakugo and Ochako, and I become dumbfounded. As far as I'm concerned, Shoto isn't the pervy type and is passive, so he's not a Mineta. While Momo hates Mineta for his perviness and seems genuinely pure, I'd argue that Momo dating Shoto would actually help her character a lot because she sees Shoto as a pillar of strong judgment and ability showcased in the end-of-term exams. Shoto can relay his experience onto Momo, which would then give her confidence and practical experience, which she lacks. On the other hand, we know Shoto has always wanted to hang out with friends. Flashback of him seeing his failed siblings playing sports. The only contradiction to that is when he told Izuku at the sports festival he's not there to make friends, but then again he was fueled by rage. Shoto seems to like the atmosphere of being able to hang out with classmates, recalling him to lighting a stove at the training camp and giving off a smile that clearly illustrates my example. Dating Momo would only reinforce his character, so after reading this, tell me whether you'd hang yourself if this ever happened, because I hope you don't. You gotta reach 100k subs. Hopefully one day. But, seriously, no worries. If you guys ever disagree with me on anything, don't worry. I know none of you mean anything bad by disagreeing. So yeah, it's totally fine. And I did say I like Urarara x Bakugo, but I would not want it to happen in canon story either. I think my issue with this is it's going to be kind of hard to explain, but there are a lot of long-running series that have gone to shit, and I would say shipping becoming a part of the canon story being a large part of it. I think anyone that's familiar with or a fan of Naruto or Fairy Tail could probably make a pretty long list of reasons why they declined over time, but I think that romance and ships becoming canon is one of the parts of the list. It's one of the things that sort of led to them going really downhill. As for Todoroki and Momo, I like their relationship, and I think that them being together would help in the way you said, but not being together romantically. I don't think that it needs to be a romantic relationship. They can be best friends or just friends in general, or just classmates that really respect each other and gain things from each other. I think when it comes to writing, romance is just the cheapest and easiest way to do something to force characters to interact, and it's just really, really overused and late to the point it's lazy and overdone. That so much romance is forced. I would say that continuing on, I think the relationship would make more sense as a friendship, and I think it'd be more refreshing and unique that way. And I think for me, they've had good character interactions, but I get really sick of both fans and writers. They'll see a male and female character interact once and then ship them for the rest of a series or something, and it really hurts the character because it adds that baggage onto them. So I don't think they need to be in a romantic relationship for their relationship to be good. And the only romantic relationship that I think would make sense in canon right now is Izuku x Uradaka. And even if I think that maybe it should happen, I don't think it should happen anytime soon. That's more like an end of series type of deal. Because it's developed as a romantic thing. So I just think that the way the development's going, it'd be much better off to have a relationship between Momo and Todoroki that isn't romantic. And they brought back in, for me, when I ship people, it's not an absolute, it's just more of a possibility for fun or lighthearted conversations. When I ship Momo and Todoroki, I can see it end of series or never happening at all, which is fine. I'd agree that making characters date is overdone, but they're in high school, the time to be dating. In a sense, my tolerance level of characters dating is higher than yours, since it doesn't bother me as much, but to each their own. For me, like you said, with you see it as just a part of fan discussion, I love shipping as a part of fan discussion and stuff. Like, if you have a ship, totally. I mean, even then it can be overdone and people can take it way too extreme and stuff. But in general, I think it's fine. It's a good source of fan discussion. It's just when shipping moves from fan discussion to being made canon in the actual story, that the story usually starts to suffer because of it. So I really don't like ships becoming canon. That and like I said, I think it's just more realistic that people can have a relationship without being romantic or even being friends. Like I said, they don't even necessarily have to be friends. They can just be classmates that learn something and gain from one another, because that's kind of how real life works in a way. So yeah, that's, wow, I'm running through this. That is the end of the Boku no Hero Academia section already. Next up, we have our One Piece section. First up, East 1860. Sorry I keep scratching my face. My upper lip itches like really, really bad. I don't know if a mosquito bit me or what, but I am itching, fam. Oh god, I just said fam. But yeah, first up, East 1860 said, I hope we see Smoothie do something cool when the siege of the castle starts. She's got to have a lot of physical strength aside from her devil fruit, even if the main goal of the Straw Hats is to escape now. There have to be at least some fights. I would agree, because Smoothie has a super high bounty, super high rank. We haven't seen her do anything except serve drinks. She has done, Smoothie's done nothing this arc. It's a cool design, cool bounty, cool rank. Have Smoothie do something. Joe K also says, in before Luffy stays out of the castle to fight, there has to be a head-on confrontation, right? I just don't see the Straw Hats surviving when they got two emperors chasing them, both with big grudges against them, if memory serves right. Of course, I don't really remember if Kaido hates them like Big Mom does. I don't know if it was just because of the quality of the scans or something else, or hold on, I think I skipped something. It's been a while since I read the past chapters, so I forgot some stuff. The art was amazing this chapter. I don't know if it was just because of the quality of the scans or something else, but I thought it was really solid, especially at the page when Big Mom uses her powers in the flashback and the Big Mom pirates are walking towards the main cast. Thanks for the reaction, waiting on the review. Thank you for the comment. I agree that the art looked quite nice for One Piece this week, and I think, of course, I guess if this is posted before the chapter that comes out, or posted after the chapter that comes out tomorrow morning, last week's One Piece chapter. But either way, I thought the art was really, really nice. I would say a lot of it, I think I would attribute a lot of it to the large panels and the two-page spreads that Oda used. Also, I doubt Luffy will stay out of the castle, because I bring this up quite a bit, and I like when the series sticks with this. Luffy is smart. Luffy is not stupid. I was trying to say Luffy and stupid at the same time. It came out as lupid. So yeah, Luffy's not stupid. He's just brave, courageous and stuff. He rushes into things. But when it comes down to it, we've seen with a lot of the plans and strategies he's pulled off that he isn't dumb. So I don't think he's going to stay out of the castle. East 1860 says, great double review. The preview for next week's episode looks really polished. I can't wait for the fight, especially the wall scene. If only there wasn't this awful boot sound. Thank you so much. And I agree, and I really hope that they don't use that terrible sound effect for Judge, because it took away a bit from the siblings. It took away a bit from the Yonji scene this episode. I mean, I didn't complain about it because I thought that it was a good enough scene overall, that it wasn't worth mentioning. And because I have complained about it a lot, and I don't want to just complain about, this moon boot sound every single week, and you guys hear me, even though it's a negative and kind of hurts the episode each week, I don't want to complain about the same thing each week and just get on your nerves or anything. Then lastly actually for One Piece, D.A. Motoneko says, yes, that episode was really good. It was a bit of classic One Piece, but I'm a bit more critical about the characters introduced here. But that, I suppose, is the reason I think so happens later on. Nice review. One of the things I liked about the episode is that we have a leisurely moment, the characters interacting with each other without it feeling out of place. For example, Carrot and Luffy eating together, and he gave her his seagull-shaped carrot. Very cute. Not to forget the moment when Nami and Chopper meet the lunch lady and she's so nice to them. Gave them lots of food and they happily dug in. And this, of course, is about an episode a couple episodes ago that they commented on. Not the most recent one. But yeah, I love little things like that, and I kept it in here because I want to say again that one of my favorite things about One Piece has always been the Straw Hats interacting with each other and building up their characters and relationships. That's something that I've always loved, and it was a really key part of pre-time skip One Piece that post-time skip they haven't really been doing as much, but they've still done a decent bit of it, and when they have, it's been good. So definitely want to praise that. And that is it for One Piece. Next up we have Magical Girl Racing Project comments, which I do believe will be a good, significant portion of this HaQ&A. First up, moving on into them, Roos12389 says, I think At Nyan Nyan could have killed Cherna. As Place said, if At Nyan Nyan's ability really is the transfer of anything into her scrolls, then she shouldn't have any problems with transferring digital data. Candies, for example. Flet even called her power the ultimate cheat in this digital world if she can transfer digital data. To me personally, I think that Nyan Nyan, or at least I did at the time, was the second most likely behind the Master that killed her. Now I think a bit differently, but at the time I was saying Nyan Nyan was second, and the reason I was saying that was it's not that I distrusted Nyan Nyan at the time that much, but it's more like I trust most of the other characters because most of the other ones had decent alibis or realistically couldn't have done it or seem like they wouldn't have done it. Whereas Nyan Nyan she didn't seem the most guilty, just the least innocent. Then Roos12389 replied to that, well, I agree with you. I don't think anyone's working with the Master. I think someone's forced to kill the players. For example, what if the Demon Lord's one of the magical girls? After all, we don't know anything about the Demon Lord. As far as we know, the other magical girls need to defeat or most likely kill the Demon Lord to finish the game. I think the Master put one of the magical girls into a kill-or-be-killed situation where she has to kill everyone in order to survive. In my opinion, it would make the motive for killing other people very simple and not something like, I was a spy all along or something like that. That was a good theory, and at the time I was thinking, I think it might be the Master, and my reason for that was like, she designed the game assuming that they are Cranberry's children to prove that they aren't proper magical girls, and for them to make it through, she'll have to be like, I'm a proper magical girl, I'm the final wall, the final hurdle to stop you, and she would be like, they can only be real magical girls over my dead body, and serve as the final boss. Now, since we've read the next chapter, it seems that you were correct, but that's why I wanted to throw this in here, because of showing how someone did actually work out that they thought that the Demon Lord was another one of the magical girls. But they replied to that as well. I don't feel like the Master will kill people. I think she's like 5, enjoys the show, and what could be more enjoyable than making one of them the Demon Lord so they kill each other? And that's only assuming that she is like 5, but I think your theory is also very good. Again, really, really great thoughts on the Demon Lord and the Master. That's why I wanted to leave that in, because those were some good thoughts for discussion. Seek210 said, I can't decide which one is my favorite waifu and magical girl raising project. There are a few that I like, but I can't decide who's first yet. I think I might catch up to the read-throughs by this weekend so I can finally follow it. I've really enjoyed the season with most of the series that I've picked. The one that surprised me most is Tsukigakure. If you like romance series, you should check it out. I agree with that Mercenary and Zero are both great characters, and I love the interactions they have with each other. For me, my Arc 1 waifu is Clanberry or Cranberry. My Arc 2 waifu is Clantail, though I really, really like Shadowgale and Melville as well. And as for Zirokara Hajimura Mao no Sho, I really like it, and I do like Zero and Mercenary and how they interact. But I feel like as I'm watching it, it keeps leaving me just wishing more had happened, you know? That's how I always feel after watching it. So moving along, Deshaun Gamble said, you can tell how much Pechka was observing Ninomiya-kun with how much detail she described while she's with him, about his sweat, his chest muscles, his cheeks. She really wants the D. And Andrea Zapita replied, lol, she's like the typical harem protagonist now, since they usually have a crush on the girl or boy, but suddenly they get their own harem. And you can't tell me otherwise. She only has eyes for him, and the other 3 girls will never be noticed. And I love Pechka's harem. Pechka's harem, Clantail is like the shy girl who gets belly touches from Pechka, but never gets noticed as love. And Miyakata is the happy, cheery waifu, and then Rionetta is like the bitchy tsundere, who is all like arrogant and bitchy, but then she's like, she still loves her deep down, you know? Then next up, this comment is by Shrine94, and I'm going to split this one into parts. First part, with Genocyco's return, it looks like things will heat up next chapter with the Great Dragon mid-boss. Also, Flesh spelled out her master plan to slay the dragon and even gave out free equips. She's sort of become the unofficial leader of the group now. And yeah, I'd love to see... For me, I'd still love to see all of the group work together, even if they don't all travel together. Kind of like how things went for the mid-boss fight, I really want to see the group just work together. The next part said, Noko-chan's got shield +5 to match Mott +5. She's on her way to becoming the ultimate magical girl. Noko-chan is fully looted out. Then next they said, Fall's still great even though he didn't show up this chapter. Thanks to him, Snow White's on the case and she's facing down the Master. Well, there's still 6 more chapters and over half the characters left, so it's probably not going to be this easy. I agree that I really enjoy Fall, and I'm interested in how the story will go, since we're moving out of the setup phase of the story, it seems, and all the different storylines and moving more into payoff phases for them. So it will be interesting to see how things go. And then, last part they said, I'm pretty sure that Miyakata's power wouldn't work on the Great Dragon. It looks like she has to put a bow on the creature to befriend it, and there's no way that they'd be able to pin the dragon down long enough for her to do that. Anyways, I'd be looking forward to next week's chapter. You're right about that, it does seem like she has to do that, but it would be so cool if she could, wouldn't it? If she could have, tamed the Great Dragon, that would have been awesome. Next up, Andrew Zapita said, hashtag Pechka's food, my poor child just keeps suffering. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things, that we get to see the characters out of their magical girl forms and things related to it. For me, one thing I'm hoping, Clantail is waifu, so I'm hoping that outside of magical girl form, that she is a waifu outside of magical girl form. Also, I think in Arc 1, Nemarine was probably best girl in human form, but Ruler's human form and Tama's and Alice's were all cute too. Magicaloid and Weiss had cute human forms too. They said, there were many waifus before and there are many to come. And lol, do you not want a senpai like La Pucelle? I would very much prefer a female waifu, if that's what you mean. And they said, I thought so. For me, though, and this is going to get into some odd territory, but I will say, I am okay with traps. I say, if you're female on the inside, that's what really matters, because if you're male on the inside, that's what really matters as well. Like, that's why I struggle with thinking La Pucelle is fine. Because as a body, La Pucelle is a really nice body, but I couldn't have any feelings for La Pucelle, because then I remember, oh wait, she's a guy. She's a guy on the inside. So, yeah, I think it's what's on the inside that counts, and if she's a guy on the inside, that kind of makes La Pucelle non-waifu now. And then Andrew said, as I always say, if it's cute, then there's no problem, and so I like. But, yeah, that got into some interesting territory. Next up, another one I'm splitting into parts to make it easier to read so it's not one long thing. Andrew's Peter starts off saying, Belzy stalking the adorable Lazaline. Poor thing. Petchka getting to ride on Clantail, I'm so jealous. Lol man, Team Clantail's my favorite team. Me and Queen Deja have the nickname for them as the Bitches, not as a bad thing. Just because she once called them that way, we got stuck with the nickname for them. Interesting enough, Petchka has an extremely good sense of smell. I wouldn't be surprised if she could smell someone like Melly or other characters with flowers in their costume. Who knows? Maybe we'll get to know one day. Most likely we would, as it'd be pointless to not have that added up. For me, it makes sense. One, there's not much reason for there to be flowers for her to smell in the wasteland area. And plus we know that 1, Melville can camouflage herself. 2, she's hunting for the traitor, and 3, she's got flowers on her costume. So it makes sense that she would spy on the other team, see what they're doing, and maybe Petchka could just smell her, I guess. Next part, they said, what the heck, Pinocchio, is that a new name for Rionetta? Because I like it. And yeah, Rionetta, she's always so cranky because she wished on a star, but she never became a real boy. Next part, they said, trust at Nyan Nyan. At least I do in my heart, because I love her thick tail. I guess that's the only thing that makes me think in a positive way about her. Thick tail's quite nice. Then, at Nyan Nyan's chibi form, I'd never noticed how cute it was, but then I used it in a thumbnail, and the little pose and everything, it's very cute. Just to talk about Nyan Nyan. Next part, they said, nice theory about Flez's ability with the crazy awesome wheelchair. And yeah, for me, I think, like, if Flez's power really is the wheelchair, it's kind of a waste of a power. Because I just kind of now realize that as long as Shadow Gale has a chair, since she can use her ability to improve things, she can turn the chair into the super awesome wheelchair. So, I mean, if that is her power, it's kind of a waste of a power since she could just have the awesome wheelchair anyway. But either way, next up they said, I guess Clantel felt a bit weirded out or too shy to show her spider form to the other girls. Because of how I said I wondered why she was in horse form in the cave. And I'd say, yeah, that could be true, but I really wish she was in a different form for that scene, because I'm pretty sure the whole reason she was in spider form they talked about before is that it was really uncomfortable for a horse and that her hooves would slip on the stone floor. And trust me, I've been to caves and waterfalls and stuff, and like cave rock, waterfall rock, stuff like that is super, super slippery. So yeah, you really wouldn't want a horse in there. So yeah, I think they even brought that up, like I said. So I just kind of wish she wasn't in horse form there, because it's not really a plot hole, but it doesn't make a ton of sense. Then next up they said the best weapon is still Mop +5, and now complementing it with Shield +5. Still the greatest weapon by default is still Fire Extinguisher Goon. For me, I had mentioned on Twitter 3 best weapons in the series: Mop +5, Fire Extinguisher, and Melville's Poon. Melville, my girl. Melville is such a badass. She was just throwing harpoons through dragons and stuff. So badass. Next up, They said the waifu is in danger. Clantail is being on the front lines. What a way to get to end the situation with the girls from Restart, then going into the most serious stuff. And yeah, I was very, very unhappy with Clantail being on the front lines there. Way too dangerous. They said my poor baby Fall needs a better master. Snow White finally coming to the rescue. Fall needs to become Snow White's sidekick so that they can hunt evil test masters together. And they said thank you for the video. Thank you for the comment as always, Andrea. Shrine 94, another long one that I will break into parts. First up, they said, I believe this is the first chapter of the second Restart novel, which is why the Demon Lord edition of the game is here. Yeah, I did notice that. It was the first chapter of part 2, because normally when I go to get thumbnails and stuff, like, it has the images for thumbnails. It has the BnHA cover, but this time it had a Shadow Gale cover, so that's how I could tell it was the start of part 2. Then they said, also back in part 1, the reason that Snow White could hear Alice while she was Kyuki was because of the rabbit's foot. Magical girls can't use their powers in human form. Everybody wants to protect Noko-chan, and now Lazaline and Belle have taken her in. It's good to see that she's doing okay. For me, I thought Noko-chan said she could use her power outside of being a magical girl, but I think I was reading it wrong. I think she was just, I think it was explained that she was just disguising her magical girl form as her real form. So thank you for letting me know. Thank all of you as well, if more of you commented that. Thank you for letting me know. Then they said Flea still being a scheming Flea, busily working on, sorry, hiccup. It's coming. I can feel a hiccup coming. Now I'm good. Busily working hard to shake things up and find the traitor, unless she is the Demon Lord anyway. I said Flea is a silly Katawa shoujo. Next part they said, and now there's a monkey Clantail. BnHA definitely prefers pony or horse Clantail to her other forms, and continues to inadvertently grow the affection points of her entire team, and she just wants to get onto the Ninomiya-kun route. For me, Deer Clantail is my current favorite Clantail, though I think a dog, I think we talked about this a lot last year, HaQ&A, but a dog Clantail would be really, really cool looking, I think. And then when I was thinking that, I just keep going back, and I'm pretty sure I said it last HaQ&A, I just keep going back to thinking about a giraffe Clantail. What would that look like? Like, she'd be so tall and stuff, it'd be cool once again. I think giraffe Clantail is something I want to see. Then next up they said, I'm pretty sure Lazaline can only teleport herself. At the very least, she's never been shown taking anyone else with her so far. For me, I was just thinking that she could teleport over, grab Clantail, and teleport away or something, because most teleportation I've seen works on people that the person's touching. I don't know if hers works that way, but I was just assuming maybe it could work that way. And then lastly, they said, also the Master actually has one of my favorite abilities and designs in the series. I don't really like her at all, though, because she's the one who set up the whole kill a bunch of likable characters plot. Her ability is pretty overpowered, though, especially since she's not limited to dreams like Nemorine is. Anyways, the log-off period comes next chapter, so it'll be about what they're doing in reality. And yeah, I think Glasses-chan Master is very cute, very adorable. And as much as I hate her killing off a bunch of these good people indirectly, she is quite adorable. I really do think Glasses-chan Master is very, very cute. And then lastly this week, again separated into parts to make it easier to read, Deshaun Gamble said, finally the Demon Lord has been introduced. Also, the dragon scene is another scene I want to see animated, for me, yeah, I want Restart to get an anime, but I want it to get a really good anime. I thought the first season had a good anime, but I hope if Lerche, however you would pronounce it, keeps the rights to it and does a Restart anime, I hope they put more into it and make it even better on the production side of things. Because season 1 was already good on the production side of things, but I think they could do with improving it even more. Because I know they can. I know they're not like at their limits. Because I think production quality... Now don't get on me, because I know a lot of Magical Girl Raising Project fans are going to be watching this, but don't get on me. But I thought that Monster Musume, which was also handled by the same studio, had a decent bit better production quality than Magical Girl Raising Project's anime did. So it's clear that Lerch isn't at their, they're not pushing at their entire peak for Magical Girl Raising Project, and I would hope for a second season they would step things up to maybe that Monmusu level of production quality. I think it would really help the series if they did. Second part, they said, and yes, with Clantail's ability to transform her lower half into any animal, she can be as thick as she wants to be. Hashtag the lootening. Clantail too thick, but kind of bestiality, but she's pretty much human, so I don't think about it like that, guys. She's human, we swear she's human. They said also Fled does seem shady at the moment, but when I read it for the first time, I did believe there was a possibility of her being the Demon Lord, but that's all I'll say on that. Everything will make sense soon, and I'm looking forward to your reaction to the truth. Again, please, people, do not spoil the truth. I know I can trust that you won't, Deshaun. I'm just saying, in general, please, nobody. For me, I still believe that Fle's good, and it is possible that she's the Demon Lord, but if anything, I think it might, the way they're building it up, it might be too obvious trying to hint that she is, that she isn't. It's a mislead. It's a mislead to try to make us doubt her, even though we don't have real reason to doubt her. And really, whoever the Demon Lord is, I will make a bet that the Demon Lord is still a good person, and that they're just doing what they have to do to try to stay alive. I would bet anything that whichever character the Demon Lord turns out to be, I would bet money that they're not a bad person. They're just doing what they have to do to play this game. Because, I mean, it is either kill the other 15 or be killed by them for them to win. Yeah. Then, next they said, also Keek, or Glasses Girl, by the way. It's not really a spoiler knowing her name, since it does nothing to the story, kind of like knowing Akane's name wasn't important. Seems pretty hypocritical, don't you think? She says all magical girls must be pure, but she's not pure herself. Ooh, lewd. Sorry. There are other reasons why she's hypocritical, but they haven't been revealed yet. I did know her name was Keek from the wiki having a cast list when I go there to get thumbnail images. I try to stray as far as I can from anything that might be spoilers. But I still, from now on, I will prefer to call her Glasses Chan Master, kind of, even though Keek is a cute name. But also, as for her being hypocritical, I mean, I get she's just your typical sort of character that she's like, technically I haven't killed anybody, but she's kind of leading them to their deaths, you know. So typical that kind of villain. And then they lastly said, Fire Extinguisher Kun is better than Mott Plus 7. He was even in Madoka Rebellion. He's more popular than Mott Plus 7. But I believe in Mott Plus 7. It can clean the flames off. Fire Extinguisher can put out fire, but we've already seen what's the point of Fire Extinguisher? Mott Plus 7, clean the flames off. We saw her do that to the bodies just this chapter. And that is it for that is it for the Magical Girl Raising Project comments. Next up, still running through this Little Witch Academia comment, starting with Sir Canavar, who said, I will repeat what I commented on other people's reviews. I want to slap the people who complained about the show's plot on the face with this episode. It is indeed well written, and yes, it is a very, very good show. Then, next up, Andrew Totoro said, it's such a traumatic revelation, and this whole time I thought Akko was just clumsy, just an anime version of Mildred Hubble from the Worst Witch book series. But her impotent magic is not her fault this whole time. The very person whom inspired Akko to be with was the one who inhibited her magic ability to achieve that dream, and subsequently making her the laughingstock of the Academy. When you think about it, it's such a sick and ironic joke that if I were the Joker, I'd be laughing my ass off. If I were Akko, I'd be so pissed now that I would side with the anti-witchcraft sentiment of Andrew's dad. Anyway, I hope that there's going to be more than 2 episodes left, because there's a real crisis of faith that Akko is going through, and it takes time to overcome such a cathartic change, one that can't be fixed in 30 minutes or less for her to pull herself together and gather the courage to defeat the villain and save the world. It's gotten pretty dark. I hope it doesn't go the route of Madoka Magica where Akko has to sacrifice herself to save the world. That'd be a real tearjerker. Those are some great thoughts. I think that my personal guess has been that Ursula might have to sacrifice herself in order to stop Croy and save the world, and maybe she does that as Akko finds the seventh word, and fulfills both of their dreams, both Akko's dream and Ursula's dream, so her dream was fulfilled even though she died. I think that'd be a really good way to do it. And then, lastly, that's it for the Little Witch Academia section. And now last up we have 2 comments for Attack on Titan. First up, Big Will 1919 said, I totally disagree. Ymir has a choice. She could have told the people inside the walls what she knew and helped them. Mikasa and Erwin I saw is right. We can't talk this out. We aren't friends. If they take Eren, we lose. For me, I personally see Eren as right, I personally saw Erwin was right, and I think Mikasa was right as well. She just went about being right in a very stupid way, because Armin and Jean were handling the situation in a really good way. It was a way that was safer than fighting them head on. It had a better chance of saving Eren, because they were messing with Reiner and Bertolt psychologically to the point where they could break and give up. And kind of what Mikasa was doing was forcing everyone to have to fight physically, which is more dangerous and has less of a chance of success. So I do think Mikasa was right. I just think she went about it in a bad way. Also, for Ymir, it's only a choice if the people in the walls can defeat the Titan people, and it doesn't seem unlikely at the present time. For them it seems unlikely. For Ymir it would seem unlikely. We as viewers know the humans will end up winning because main character status. But at the time, Ymir has nowhere to go. If she goes outside of the walls, the Titan people will kill her for killing one of them. And that's just logic to her. And if she wants to hide somewhere, she has to hide in the walls. Well, if the Titan people defeat the people in the walls, then they're still going to find her and then kill her. The only way she could survive is that if she joins the Titan people, gains their trust, or if the humans win, which to her and most of them would seem pretty much impossible. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for her to think the way she is right now, if she is actually thinking that way and it's not a deception. Lastly, Brian McClure said, I'm going to end the HaQ&A by going in on somebody. I'm sorry, guys. But they said they used this as to be a reason to be negative on something I said in my review. Actually, they don't have a huge budget. Just the opposite. The animation company's been barely paying the bills. We're lucky they had enough money to make Season 2 at all. I went to do some research on this one, so I knew what I would be talking about before I answered them, so I could be like, okay, you're right if they were right. But I highly doubted they were right. I just wanted some backup. Anime typically don't have a very big budget. Well, compared to Western TV. They have nothing compared to Western TV, which is kind of hard to believe sometimes given how shit a lot of Western shows are, even with all the money they're given. But Attack on Titan has around twice the budget per episode as your average anime. That's just on a whole. On a whole, your average anime maybe has around 100,000 an episode. Attack on Titan has maybe like 200,000 an episode. Now, that makes a ton of sense. Attack on Titan is hugely successful. Even putting its name on games or spin-offs or movies, merchandise, it makes a lot of money because of that name. It's a big product. And it's being produced by a number, not just one, but a number of the largest and most successful studios and animation groups that are in the industry, including Production IG, for God's sake. So from what I can say, Brian McClure, nothing you said is true, and it wouldn't even make logical sense for it to be true. Like, why would they give one of the most successful mainstream anime a small budget? But other than that, that said, I want to get into something where even if you were right, even if they didn't have a huge budget, that's not a great excuse. Because there are a lot of anime going on right now that have far less money, time, and corporate backing that have better production quality. So even if you were correct, the lack of money doesn't mean the production quality doesn't have to be good. A good example of that is see One Punch Man. A notoriously low budget, one of the most well regarded by fans in terms of production quality anime there's ever been, really. Fans love the production quality of One Punch Man. It has a notoriously low budget. And having a low budget also doesn't mean that the overall direction or storytelling and the overall direction and storytelling hasn't been great for this season of Attack on Titan. But it doesn't mean it has to be bad, because look at Kimono Friends. Kimono Friends had 10 people, 5 of which were the animators, working on the production side of things, and of course that's not counting the voice actresses. They had 10 people and essentially no budget. They were pretty much being told, okay, you need to do this. But again, it's all about passion. One Punch Man had great production quality because of the passion. Kimono Friends had amazing storytelling and direction, and it showed by how big it blew up and became. A lot of that because of memes as well. But again, it's another thing that it's evidence that not that much money doesn't have to mean it's not good. It can be very good without having much money. But that's it. Just going in on something for the end of the HaQ&A. I hope you guys enjoyed. Most of this HaQ&A was the general discussion, but I tried to get through quick because, as you can hear, it's been storming for a bit of this. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did like it, comment down there, tell me what you thought of everything here, anything else you want to talk about for the future. Like I said, link to the Discord will be down below. We can talk there as well, or we can talk on Twitter at any time. You can follow there, and I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. Subscribe if you want more of this and more and you're not already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.